I got to,
All right.
I got to leave early tonight. I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm chaperoning a church youth group. I'm a youth pastor at a church, so they're going skating. I love you guys, but I like you.
We got 3 minutes.
I have nothing nice to say.
We are live and we're recording, so
Okay,
you're on
thank
video.
you. He's going to brief us on all these.
Can you bring mine up? It was up on PowerPoint.
I mean, years we've been describing it.
And it's on the thumb drive movie.
And we need to say, put up our money.
Yeah, I like.
Yep.
Full trigger. Did you guys see my Facebook post? I'm driving to the jail today, and there's just a house on fire.
Goodness.
There's no fireman or nothing, so I just like pull my car over, hop out, and like run over to like.
You're doing the
anybody in the building,
invocation.
and, you know. Dude, it was.
See, you've been trained. We're now saying you're
I
trained.
didn't- No. I'm not trained. I'm not trained. No. And everyone's like, "You're a hero." I'm like, no. The heroes drove up in trucks with sirens and stuff.
Look, but
I was just.
that's what we want.
These guys are in their house fighting like cardinals. I'm like, "Get out of the house! That smoke's 1,100 degrees. Get out of the house!" You know? And they're like, "What? Yeah. You breathe deep one time and you're on the ground. You're a casualty. Like, get out of here." Yes, ma'am.
What she said was she needs it returned to her.
Yes, it will be.
I will tackle you if you try to walk out.
No,
will be.
please do not turn it back in. I want to watch this.
He's probably faster than you.
Well, I might have to sneak out early.
1
I'm
minute.
chaperoning a youth group tonight.
Yeah, she's
so
on
at
the
the
way.
very
Let's
least,
move
I'm,
All right, for those of you who have not been in the military, this means 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. I learned something today.
Hook up, put your pants in the wind.
I didn't get one of y'all plays, did I?
What? No.
Y'all's aren't marked up.
negative.
Okay. Well, she's not here yet, but she said she would be.
Yeah, she's
All
coming.
right, I have 6 o'clock. So we go. Good evening and welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners work session. It is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022, and it's approximately 6 p.m. I'd ask that everybody please silence your cell phones and any other electronic devices. This time, I'd like to ask Commissioner James Dutton to deliver the invocation, followed by Commissioner Rita Johnson with the pledge to the flag.
Be my pleasure. Let's stand up. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we humbly come before you tonight to thank you for the awesome responsibility and blessing it is to live in this county and to be a citizen of Spalding County. Father, please help us as we deliberate tonight on some of the strategies that we're looking forward to and moving forward, and how best that we can bring these services and maximize the efficiency of our local government. Father, be with our families while we're away, that the Spirit will be with them, protect them, and keep them safe from harm. Father, we love thee, and we say these things humbly in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, both.
Hey, Ryan, didn't we have 2 monitors there? Has that always been there? Just curious.
I never paid it no attention.
Okay, all right, item number four, agenda items. Discuss the proposed FY 2023 budget and focus for ARPA funding. Dr. Ledbetter.
Thank you very much. Would you guys mind terribly if I sit here since our overhead is not working so I can follow along on the screen?
Fine with me.
Do what you gotta do. Hey.
Ms. Kathy, can you,
You're not going to be able to touch that screen and make it do things.
actually, you can drive now. So if you'll go forward. We're in the middle of a meeting, sir.
He's looking for DeAndre.
We're trying to fix that.
Who are you looking for?
DeAndre?
Yeah, he's,
Back parking lot. I just saw him coming in.
So
We're informal.
that's awesome. Thank you very much. I would really like to go through the way that we have it listed on the agenda, but since we didn't approve the agenda, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna follow the slides as we've got it set out here. If you'll look on your screen, discuss funding, which includes the commissioner's input for fiscal year 23 budget, Arp Funds. Number 2 is discuss raising the bar parts. Number 3 is high-level overview on SDS lost comp plan, SPLOST closeout, T-SPLOST startup. And then number 4 is discuss the upcoming appreciation luncheon that's scheduled for Monday at noon to 4. So if you will advance the slides. So one of the things that I could use some support from the Board of Commissioners on is 2 things. One, we would really like to begin scheduling to have one-on-one discussions with the board members on the draft budget for 23 by department, so we can have your must-haves and would be nice to have input to what's going on. Some of the things that we have been discussing as a staff include, 1, not bringing any additional personnel on unless it is absolutely essential that we bring additional staff on. And 2, looking through the plans that have been in play for the last few years, the fire station located on the northeast side of the county is one of the considerations for this year from the fire department.
They're working on
Thank you.
something.
So I could use some input from you guys on what your thoughts are with respect to bringing a fire station on. We have
Say
been,
that again, I'm sorry.
I'm looking for your direction.
You said regarding Woodruff Fire Station.
No, regarding
Additional.
an additional fire station. Please forgive me, I've got a really messed up too.
Okay,
Adding a fire station.
So the location that we're considering for the fire station, Brian Davidson is looking to donate land to the county in the area of Teeman Road. It would be south of Heron Bay, and they are looking to make the donation to include grading the property so that it would be ready for a pad to be poured. The amount of cost to provide that level of property to the county would be approximately $700,000, which has reduced the amount required for the fire department building to approximately $2.06 million is the estimate that the fire department has for that facility. In order to outfit that fire station with an engine and a mini pumper would be approximately $1.9 million. Now remember, we just made a purchase for 2 vehicles, and it's going to take us about 18 months to take delivery for those 2. Making an additional purchase now, since we are past the January date, there is an increase to the cost for those fire apparatus. And the time to obtain those vehicles is now between 18 and 24 months, and they're leaning on the 24-month timetable. So if we're going to put a fire station in, we would need to immediately go ahead and start the process of making a purchase for the 2 pieces of equipment that would go into that fire station if we're going to take delivery of it between 18 and 24 months from now.
Are you waiting for us to say something?
I would love to have input from you.
So, just from where I'm standing, if you showed me a map of Spalding County, I would love to see where every firehouse is.
Would be more than happy.
Because we have some areas that have just, are not able to be served. And I know we may or may not have an agreement with Henry County since it's so close, and I don't know how close as Henry County
It's
Fire
close.
Station is. But just because Heron Bay wants to give us some land, I'm not ready to go out and commit to building a fire station, because this was part of the original,
Sun City.
village node. So, and yeah, I see that they're developing, but I think that before we make that step, which, you know, they're kind of late coming to us with this, I'm totally like, we need to sit down and look at the county as a whole.
That's
and
perfect.
see where we
You-
need to provide, fire service.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Brian Davidson did offer property closer to Sun City Peachtree. He actually offered 2 pieces of property. The fire department sat down and did an evaluation for what they felt would be the best piece of property for their response time. And the piece of property located on Teeman Road, in between 155 and Jordan Hill, seemed to be the absolute best place for them to be in light of all of the new construction that's being built now and the proposed construction that's going in at 155.
Yeah.
So what is the, when I looked down at the south side, and I looked around at Ingalls and.
Carver Road's the most closest.
Down where, I forget the name of that subdivision, but like going to Barnesville. You know, that is an area that is potentially going to grow, but has low service. So what I want to see
Try to grow.
is, let's look at the population, let's look at where we have places where we have partnerships, and then we can decide whether or not we want to accept what they're offering. Because we need to make the decision ourselves whether or not we want to make another fire station.
Yeah, sort of like a heat map of where we have coverage and
Mm-hmm.
where it's
Right.
really good coverage, where it's okay coverage, where it's not so good coverage.
So-
But at the same time, also put in our partner organizations,
Mm-hmm.
the City of Griffin, you know,
The other
Right.
neighboring
Henry
counties.
County, et cetera.
Yep, we're actually doing that through a program called Power BI. So we're taking all of our 911 information and dumping it into a heat map, and we're watching that on a regular basis. That is a part of the dashboard that you're about to start seeing. I've seen it twice, and it's just absolutely wonderful information. Now, remember, we are 3 stations behind on our plan. Our plan indicated that Station 8 was to be built 2 years ago, Station 9 was to be built last year, and Station 10
I've
was
never
to be
heard
built
anything
this
like that.
year, according to the plans that I've seen.
So, let me just say
You might
this.
be
I've never
about
heard that.
plan
We've
because,
never seen that plan.
And I've never heard
The
that.
last time a station was built, it was built with SPOS funds and impact fees. And so that, as far as I know,
Yeah.
was going to be the way going forward unless, you know, somebody just dumped tons of money. But, and I'm not saying that fire protection is not important.
It's important,
But I think we need to decide where we want to put.
Well, and let me
That-
just say
that-
this.
That's why we're here. We wanted to have this discussion with you.
Because, you know, pointing out the areas of growth that you've mentioned in the past, okay? And of course, I'm talking obviously from the insurance side of this too. So, I mean, having a fire station close to that area is very important. That obviously means that the area is growing. But the way we're talking about, of course, the tri-counties, we're talking about near Highway 16, you know. So, I mean, there's a lot of areas there that, I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, the closest fire station near Highway 16 is where? I mean, where is the
I don't
fire
know.
station?
I
Carver
think
Road-
Which
Carver Road's
side of
pretty close
16?
On the west side.
Yeah,
Wait.
Blaylock is on 16.
One toward 75?
No, that's the east side.
Okay.
So what's up by Birdie? That's just naked. See, that's what I'm saying, we got areas that has no coverage. So I think we just need to look at that, whether it's on.
This is up on, Old Atlanta,
Yeah, it's Woodruff.
right up there where you're talking about, this side of,
Right, it's on Georgia 3, uh-huh.
93, Old Atlanta, right up there at that corner is a fire station.
Closest near Senior Center. Where's the fire station here?
That's the city of
The
Bristol.
city agreement.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we have
Okay.
mutual
we
agreement.
do, we have
Okay,
a
that's
mutual
fine.
aid agreement.
But if you have if we have development, here's a county line, here's Heron Bay, and here we are, and Henry County has a fire station less than a mile away or 2 miles away.
Right.
We need to have a mutual aid agreement.
We do.
Rather than us trying to build a fire station to accommodate
Well,
that sector.
we do already have that, mutual aid agreement. Do they want, are they tying the gifting to a fire station? They're not just handing us land, they're saying, we'll give
Probably.
you this for a fire station, or?
No, the fire department has been asking for a fire station in and around Jordan, Jordan Hill, all the way to 155, ever since I've gotten here.
I gotta be honest, those guys know what they're doing, and they certainly know where they need it more than we do. They, like, every fire station, and I've gone to several, has a big map on the wall that shows exactly where it is, and it shows like, here's our range and here's our response time. And if they're the ones going, here's where we're slow, like, they know.
Well, and I haven't, yeah, we don't know that, and I
Yep.
wanna share with you guys what we learned today, that apparently the fire district fund is supposed to fund a lot of stuff that the fire department's doing. And what is actually happening is that we have been funding things that the fire department should be funding out of that fund, out of the general fund, or out of the water authority fund. So there are multiple layers to this, and I think, I don't wanna be pushed into making a decision. Brian Davidson offered that land 10 years ago when Heron Bay first came, or 15 years ago, I don't know. And I have not heard anything since Sun City was there, but I knew that was supposed to be, they were gonna offer us land for a charter school, and offer us land for a fire station, and put a library there, all fine. But if we got to pay for it, let us do our background first, and then we come back. You look at us coming back to us next year. Yes, will it take 2 years? If we don't do it, we still gonna be in the same spot. I just think we need to really look at I mean, the fire department may know, but it may be easier to say, well, somebody's gonna give us land, we don't have to buy land. I'm not ready to go into $5 million worth of debt
Yep.
without going into the fire fund or seeing what other means that they can fund.
I think looking at the map, you can produce the map pretty quickly, get it
Yes,
all to us
yes.
to be able to, we can do that electronically
Right,
and then
right.
come and talk about it. And I still think we can make the budget stuff that you wanted timing, if you can get us the map and say, here it is, and then we can have Glenn and Mike come in and say, hey, here it is.
Absolutely, and please remember, the monies for the fire department to be built and the apparatus to go into that facility may still come from the fire district tax in accordance with what the charter says from the legislature. But from a budget perspective, we need to make sure that you guys are okay with expending those funds before we go bring that level of detail back to you.
So we're not, at least y'all might know, but I have no idea how much money is in their fund balance in the fire fund.
About $4 million.
And we just, is that after the two?
Well, no, the two machines, or the two pieces of equipment that came out, or that will come out of that, will be a part of the lease program, so it won't all come out at once. But you're also not gonna have that expenditure show up for at least, 16 more months when we accept those two pieces of apparatus.
Yeah, see, this is a long-term, we need to, my issue is, we need to expend some funds now that we won't, authorize him to be able to do that, because it's gonna be 2 years before we get that equipment and the building built and everything else.
I'm good with the idea in theory. I'd like to see
Yeah,
some
oh yeah,
more
I don't wanna
how
buy
it
that
works,
without
but
looking
like-
at it.
But like, I like the idea if the fire department's coming and saying, hey, we need something up here, and somebody's willing to give us land, like, let's try to make that work, but I don't know,
Well-
like, I'm not ready to be like, done, sold, like, we gotta,
Yep.
But
So,
the theory's fine.
The homework
Yeah,
is done.
I just don't like the fact that we're trying to push this into our budget really at the 11th hour. Because
true.
what we're saying is that we would be increasing our budget by $5 million, but to an extent, that is going to deplete the fire fund. So that means that if a pumper blows, or if whatever it is they cover up to keep smoke off of them, they don't got any money. If somebody needs a raise, if they need new people, so we can't take everything that's in there and
Yeah, you
commit
can't
it
take,
to
yeah, you
that.
certainly can't take all of it.
So that is, I'm not trying to say just sit on our hands, but I think that it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
And we just can't look at the fact that the fire department is saying, yeah, that would be a good spot. I would do the same thing if I was the fire department.
Well, if it's somebody else's money.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, I think you can pull that all together, send it to us electronically, and then we can get ready to say yes or no to that. It should be a fairly easy, this is, you've got all the stuff we need. All right, so yes,
Right.
move forward on that one to be able to get the information back, and then we can vote on it.
Awesome, thank you much. We'll go next to the Arp Funds. So if you remember, Spalding County received a total of $13 million for Arp Funds. The initial indication, the interim rule was broadband, water, sewer, and lost revenue were the only four things that you could use those funds for. Our first tranche has been delivered. We have $6.5 million sitting in the budget in a special account. The second tranche will, hey, we've got,
Yes. Keep going,
That's
you're
awesome.
doing good.
the second tranche will come in, we're expecting it between June and August for the remainder of the $6.5 million. Just 3 weeks ago, we received the Treasury's final rule, and under the final rule, counties may elect to forego the revenue loss calculation formula and instead utilize the standard allowance of up to $10 million towards provisioning government services. There are still some stipulations. When we fill out the paperwork or when we go online and fill out the required reporting, there are still some requirements around the money. It has to fit within certain guidelines, and we're still working through those guidelines, but we feel confident that what we have heard from the board will fall into place. So if you'll go to.
So that's for money, additional monies for lost revenue?
It's not additional. We're taking that $13 million and they're saying, all right, 10 million of that, we're just gonna tell you you can use for lost revenue. We're gonna call it lost revenue across the board for all of the counties and cities across the state.
They just took off an allocation and said, 10 million of it you can use for anything, and we don't have to go through the drill of putting in how much lost revenue, where it came from, and everything else. It got too complicated, so they just said, everybody can do it for $10 million and go away. So we have $10 million with almost no stipulations as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
which
and
is-
the remaining 3.5, are
Are
there
the-
stipulations required with that?
That is correct.
Okay.
Still the same ones, still the same four, water, yeah, okay. All right,
So what we have heard from the board so far is we have approximately $175,000 that has already been talked and approved for broadband, and that was for the wireless mesh ring that's going around the county. That actually is in play right now. We've got the Blaylock Fire Department up and running for high-speed internet. The city of Orchard Hill is looking to utilize that wireless mesh system and put one of the antennas on the silo down at Orchard Hill. That will not cost us any money. The city of Orchard Hill is actually expending the funds for that. The additional proceeds that we have discussed, the repair of the jail, up to $3 million for the repair of the jail. We have had discussions around the city park pool, sorry. We've had discussions around splash pads. We've had discussions around a morgue. And we've had discussions about how to engage with sewer in the county. And if you look at the dollar figures that we have listed to the side on the screen, that subtotal brings us to about 7.85 million, leaving a remainder of about $2 million for projects. Again, these are just proposed. I'm open for your discussion and direction and guidance for these funds.
Aquatic Center,
The Aquatic Center, there is money set aside for the Aquatic Center through the SPLOST. We're working through, and we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes when we talk about the remainder of the SPLOST funds that are coming in, but we feel assured that we should have enough money. We're not seeing a need to dip into this monies yet.
Community school?
Community schools, actually, we are looking to fund one full-time person for community schools, and that will be in my proposed budget for the board as an additional employee for the county.
Full-time employee?
Yes.
This person is gonna be the one who's talking to the community, getting them to come into the
Okay.
school.
There's a title they gave them.
So,
We can't remember it.
but I was thinking, or I thought, we would have a recreation specialist, and I don't know that that would be full-time. I mean, according to how many days a week the school will be open. And I can't remember if they said they would be open on Saturday. But also, are you talking about full-time resource officer? Who?
Yeah, we've been talking with the superintendent of the school and with Sheriff Dix about a school resource officer for this location as well. The superintendent has agreed to fund the SRO for that school out of grant funds.
Out of the school that's in the county?
That's correct.
And how many years will they fund that?
They've been funding the SRO program for a number of years, and it is my understanding that they will not come back and ask us to supplement the funds for that SRO.
So, I guess my question then would be, when we have SROs in all of the other schools where we have resource officers, it is a full-time job. It's every day that school is open. And community schools is actually only gonna open after school. And so, to me, that wouldn't require hiring somebody who's full-time, paying them full benefits, because that adds on to it. I'm not really sure.
Now, are you talking about the law enforcement person or the recreation specialist?
Well, the recreation specialist wouldn't be there all day. They would only be there part in the evening,
Well-
correct?
Now, remember, anything over 29 hours a week is considered a full-time employee that you've got to provide benefits for under the new regulations. So if they work part-time every day, 5 days a week, they're gonna be at 30 hours, so we're gonna have to provide them with benefits.
And that person during the day, before 3 o'clock, let's say, as the start time, is supposed to be out in the community doing the business of come in, talking to groups and trying to do that stuff. This is Lauren Brown kind of a person who's going to say, community, come on in. It's just not running that place. The more important part is the person who's going out to the community and saying, what else do you need inside here to talk about? How do we do this stuff and things like this?
That seems like the job for these cats that we already hired, you know what I'm saying? That seems like that part of like getting people engaged and stuff, we've already got that part. So what we need is somebody kind of boots on the ground for about 25 hours a week. I
So-
just
Yeah.
need to come
So,
up-
I mean, I guess to the extent that maybe this wasn't discussed where we all were in a meeting, that's two different people. You got the person running the program and following the program, and then you have this person that you want to go out. It's not necessarily the same skill set, because we're basically asking you to babysit in the evening. And so,
And see, I look at that.
At the risk of
I look
it
at that two
saying
different
something
individuals.
stupid, Kelly is that person. Lauren is that person, and if we gotta pay that person, have somebody to bring that skill set, that's a whole nother thing. I would like to know for sure from the school system, and I called the superintendent, actually, I sent him an email and asked to meet with him, and Adam Pugh, to really understand, I understand what it is that Leisure Services will do, but what, the programming is actually going to come from the school system. And so if there's a person that needs to be out in the community doing what, I'm not really sure, because the kids are gonna be in school, so who are you talking to? I'd like to know what that job description really looks like. And if it's something that the school system is wanting, then maybe out of their grant money, that particular thing should be funded. Because we just need somebody from the parks end to make sure the building is open. If Kelly and them have decided we're gonna have blah at 5 o'clock, this at 6 o'clock, GED at 7, that person that we hire is there to make sure that those activities start. But the programming, if you got a counselor in, a blah, 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 that's the school system, I'm thinking. And I think we need a clearer understanding of, to delineate what the school system wants to bring to the table and what we're bringing to the table. We're bringing our expertise in running and managing kids, and you got some other stuff that you're trying to do, so.
So when we spoke to Dr. Simmons about a month or so ago, I know he was out doing some interviews anyway for this particular type of job. And I think what he was going to do was to get the folks, because we didn't talk to these folks in Macon when we were there that actually were doing that job that we're looking for, that made them successful. That was the one thing we didn't do when we were there in Macon. So my understanding is that he was going to set something up so that we can actually talk to somebody that's actually done it, that can tell us, well, this is what's successful, we've done it here, this is what you need, rather than us beating ourselves up trying to create it ourselves, because we don't know.
Yeah, and so, and if we hire that one person, and I know we're talking about full-time or part-time, but if we hire that one person, what if they get sick? There's nobody there to run the program, so for me, hiring 2 part-time people,
Instead of one full.
where you can guarantee that they're only doing that many hours, but also that if there is a problem, the building won't be closed because there's not a park person there.
So if you're paying part-time people, you don't pay benefits.
I mean, and I'm not trying to.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
trying to
correct.
say we don't wanna pay benefits,
Right.
but I'm saying even if you pay benefits and they get COVID and they're sick for a week or a month, who's gonna run the program?
I got absolutely no problem with what you're saying. I'm trying to push this on down and get this started in new school year.
Okay, it goes back to my original question, though, as far as where is that, you're asking for the full-time salary person to be implemented in this coming budget, that's what you're asking for?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Whether
And
that be
full-time
2
salary
part-time or
person
one,
do what?
So be in charge of the community schools so that we can lead the charge at the community schools. I do appreciate your position for 2 part-times in case we get one person sick. Excellent point. That's great guidance for me. I will take that. And we'll work toward that end if that's where the board wants me to go.
you just need funding for
I
it,
just need funding for it.
right?
Well, and I find out, how our person in the school, and the school system's person is going to interact. I mean, because if part of this, and I missed that, I must have been talking to somebody during the meeting, part of this is a person who is the representative in the community, then we need to know how them doing what they're doing is going to affect how we program. The other thing that I called, Superintendent Simmons about was that if in fact the school that I've been hearing that they're going to consider within the city limits is more elementary, we talked about this at Park and Rec, that is gonna directly impact our rec programs at Fairmont. I mean, that's less than a quarter of a mile from one place to the other. Why would you put a school right in the vicinity of
Where we already have. a
community
center.
schools where we have the biggest programs that we have in Park and
That's true.
Rec,
That's
and
true.
the most active and vigorous.
That's a
So,
great point.
but if you look
When they said
at,
more, I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, but you're
We've
right.
already got
it's
Fairmont
right next
there.
to
I
it.
mean,
Fairmont
they
Event
have
center
all of
and
this alumni
community service.
That's true.
support and all this other stuff that people who went to Moore when they were kids, they have all that. There's nothing at Atkinson. Ann Street is close to a rec center, so, but I'm just saying, my conversation with him is going to be, I just don't think that that will be fruitful because there's so much going on over there already. If you go to a place where there's no resources and no way to get people within the city, you probably have a better outcome.
Absolutely agree. I've tried to make that argument, but in the end, it's them.
Well,
It's
yeah,
their
and that's
building.
why I'm
So we've gotta
calling
just try to say, hey, we want a different place, because, yes, you're
Yeah,
exactly
So
right.
our
don't
goal-
hurt our recreation program because you're,
It's 2 blocks, it doesn't accomplish what we're really looking for, which is a community center in different parts. We have a community center right there. We need a community center in other places, and yes.
So the
I-
decision is whether or not we're gonna fund the person, right?
Correct.
I mean, the center is the center, we get that, but we need to agree, is that what we're gonna do? Is there a dollar amount we're gonna allot to this? Do we know that yet, or you just want the okay of a funding?
I want the okay that you're wanting me to move forward with
Okay.
that, and we're going to work with Superintendent Simmons. In fact, I have a lunch meeting with him Monday to talk about this specifically, so that we can identify the right job description for this position. Once we have the job description, I'll push it back toward Mr. Neville and ask him to fund that or find the funding for it so that we know exactly what the range is going to be for that position. And that's what we'll bring back to you. I just want to make sure that we're all in agreement that this is the
I'm in
right thing
agreement.
for us to do.
Just so everybody understands my concept of how to do this is, my position was, I was gonna take out of the $10 million, $500,000 or whatever the right number is for, and let's say, for the next 2 years, let Steve have the space, get that brought out of this money, then the budget 2 years from now, 25, is when he has to pick up the budget, because this money's only gonna last for 2 years. Let him start, and it gives him 2 years to get the Lauren position ready to go. So 2 years from now, we've got the money here to be able to, it is small money to, out of this big issue. But that gives him the money to be able to do it for 2 years. And then turn around, and it doesn't hurt this $10 million, we're talking about a couple $100,000, $300,000. We won't even hurt, it's rounding error in this $10 million.
So I don't know what we budget for now, but I would say, and I'm sure you've already talked to Kelly, that, you know, our plan has generally always been try to pay the least amount that we can. And the people that we really get that come in, you know, it's kind of a ministry for some people. There's not a huge amount of money there, but we have actually upped the ante for part-time people so that it's a bit more lucrative. But that's part of the problem right now at Ambux. If Miss Peaches is sick or can't come to work, Ambux is closed. It's closed 70% of the week. And that's one of the most densely populated places in the county.
Yep.
So I think it's important for her to weigh in on how we successfully managed to keep those places open. It's because we've gone for hiring more people for less hours.
So, we, you know, we all, I think we all agree, community school, community centers are needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm saying, let's take it, if necessary, let's take it out of the $10 million.
I think that's a good idea. that
We okay the funding.
We dedicate a certain amount of money to make sure that this project works through until 2 years, so it doesn't have to hit your budget.
That's perfect. In fact, that works out quite well for everything, because if the program doesn't work and it falters and falls down and falls completely apart, then it's not beating up my budget. But it's our intent to make this program work because it's the right thing to do for our
Right.
community.
So let me just say this, and I'm being biased because Ambux is in my neighborhood. I have a problem with us funding a new position, and we can't get a person who is at that park every day, so the kids in the neighborhood will have some place to go to. We talked about partnering with the city for the sidewalk extension up Cersei and up to where our park is. It's closed if you get to walk up there. So, I know you said you don't wanna hire anybody, but there are places where we need to have City Park open, and we need to have Ambux open at least 3 days a week. It should be open 5 days a week, and we're taking a bunch of SPLOST money and doing some renovations and rehab there. What are we doing it for? The building's closed 80% of the time. Kids are outside playing, but they can't get in the gym. So, I know you're not trying to hire anybody, but I really wish we would look at making sure that we have coverage at the facilities that we already have. Like the guy at City Hall was part-time. Fletcher worked there 30 years, came over from the city of Griffin. But when he died, there's nobody to be over to oversee City Park.
My issue is on ARP, take some of the ARP money to get this thing started, whatever that looks like. And we have $2 million remaining. Let's use the ARP money to say community schools is important to us. We're willing to put in our portion of it to get that going. County manager, start getting ready, come back and talk to us about it later on what this is really gonna look like.
And give us a 2-year projection of, if I hire one person, this is what it's gonna look like, this is what it's gonna cost and benefits, if we get 2 people, or if I can bring on another person to go to Ambuck,
Right.
because it really should be as communities in school, because it's the desert. Yeah, once we can see that, and I think we can say now, okay, yeah, it needs to be 500,000, no, it needs to be 750, or it needs to be $1 million. But certainly create a line item where that will only work for that.
Okay.
That's a good
I'm
idea.
Thank you much.
I'm good with that. All right, so, adding money in here for, community schools,
Got it.
and the rest of it, I didn't know anything about MORC. I didn't know we needed, I remember you saying something about it, when we were having the COVID issues, so I'm good with that. Let's, spend a second and talk about, sewer.
So, one of the things that we've been talking about as BOC for, goodness, the last 6 months is economic development and how we move forward with economic development. Having had the opportunity to sit through the Water and Sewerage Facilities Authority meetings for a number of months, it is a little interesting to hear how sewer is progressing or not progressing in the county. And this is a big economic opportunity for us. And how do we push forward with sewer? Recognizing that $3 million, back to your point earlier, $3 million above the 10 is earmarked for broadband, water, sewer. It's not earmarked for lost anymore because they took that away from us when they gave us that 10 million. So broadband, water, sewer. We've got good momentum with our broadband right now for a very small amount of money. There are additional, in fact, there's phase 2 grant application that is being released here in the next few weeks, and more money will be allocated for broadband from the governor's office in October. So I think broadband is really being pushed across our state and being funded across our state quite well.
Except for us.
Except for us.
Right.
You
We got left out.
Except for us.
please don't get me on that soapbox because I
Yeah,
get
but
very,
yeah, I'm
very
just
aggravated.
saying,
I'm with you.
Gosh.
But I
Steve,
think
how will we, excuse me, how will we measure, once we ring, because I know you said that for broadband, we're at $175,000. But if we had the big picture, because I know our topography is not everything even, what would it really take how will we know if the ring that we built provides the coverage that we need? Because it may take us in a couple miles, and then you got a dead spot.
Right.
So if we only allocate for this amount with nothing to offset unintended consequences or coverage that we did not anticipate we would need something extra. I think somewhere in this we need to make sure that we're not closing ourselves off by saying that us making this ring is gonna be what we need.
No, it's not. There are a lot of irons in the fire for this one. So Central Georgia EMC contacted me yesterday. We are still on phase 2, which is next year, which is another interesting conversation. For them to bring fiber across the southern part of the county, so it will take fiber from AKB all the way across into Williamson and over into Coweta County, because they're connecting the link between Coweta County and Butts County for the southern side of their facility, their offering.
So it'll cover EMC's area on the south side of the
That
county.
is correct. I did get another conversation yesterday. The north side coming in from Henry County, and please forgive me, I do not have the name of the company that's coming down, but they're coming down, they're already working into Spalding County on the north side at Hampton. So that piece is going to be taken care of. Wavecom is still pushing for their offering coming into Tri-County. They have already indicated that they will reapply for Phase 2, which will come in October, so that they will take care of the Tri-County area. The piece that we're really or that I've been really concerned about is Orchard Hill. It looks like Orchard Hill Mayor and the City Council are doing a fabulous job at working with us and with the city at providing a wireless mesh option for Orchard Hill. They're looking to do that right now. That's the long answer. The short answer is and I don't remember how many interns we have from Georgia Tech. I believe it's 8. They installed a piece of software called Zeek on our servers to understand how we are progressing our system across the county and how our internet service is being deployed across the county. We've got a lot of things going on in the internet side. The 175 that you see on your screen right now, remember the school board is helping us pay for that. So that
Okay.
175 is affording us some additional funding. Should we need a few additional antennas to go up, we'll be
Okay.
able to do that.
I believe that 90% of the funding for broadband will come from external source.
So do I.
So we have and maybe it's 95%. We just need to have a little bit of money to do exactly what you're talking about. Unintended consequences where we didn't understand this was gonna be there. The rest of it is free gratis to us. It's gonna come in and then be there, and now the customer has to decide thumbs up and take it or down. We will have access to their house to be able to do it. So I'm saying, let's press on. The issue with me is how soon? That's the $3 million question, and my answer is we can afford to wait. I'm not interested in the $3 million question to say,
Right.
2 years versus 3 years,
Right.
or 1 year versus 2 years. That's a heck of a lot of money in our community to do this with, and we're not sure how many people are even gonna sign up at that rate. You know, if all of a
That's
sudden you
true.
walk into a lot of the homes and say, it's gonna cost you $50,
That's my other thing. How do we maintain it? We don't create a system that we cannot maintain. And in order to do that, we have to have some sort of recovery fund and a fee structure, which we really haven't discussed. And right now, while we're talking about netting the county and people having access to internet, I have to believe that means you're getting it for free. I'm just saying, if
we're
it
gonna
says,
get the wire to the house for free. If they decide they wanna do something with it, I mean, sign up.
but we're talking
For
about
service.
wireless. When we're talking about ringing, we're talking about internet wireless receivers, right? Not fiber. When you're saying that we're ringing the county,
We're ringing the county with a backhaul, so we're able to offer the service. And once we finish that ring, it will be available, yes. Before we finish that ring, we're coming back to you to share with you what the maintenance cost is gonna be, how much we're gonna charge our residents, should we decide to charge our residents for that service. We've got a lot going on that's in the internet service provision side of
Right.
our budget.
we talked about that at Three Rivers meeting because so many of the counties that are in our Three Rivers area are poor.
Mhm.
And, you know, if AT&T is now doing cable for a year for $30, and we already come in saying we think it's gonna be 65 or 70, you know, why would anybody want to get on our system? So I just wanna see the numbers. I mean, I know what we're doing, we're gonna do that anyway, but we have to think about how we recoup in order to maintain the system once we put it up.
Absolutely, we are all over that. Mike is just doing a phenomenal job at pulling all of the numbers together for us so that we will bring that back to you.
So, but once again, you just want us to reserve 175 right now for
Yes,
that?
please.
And just know that broadband's gonna come back to us to talk about some more. But we've got the money to be able to do that, the parts that we're talking about, but it's small parts versus a whole big issue.
Now, that 175, that's our portion? I know you said there's a split with the school board. That's our portion?
No,
Okay,
our portion of this is 100, the school board's paying 75.
okay. All right, but we're
But I
we're
need that
authorizing one
75
seventy-five.
just to make sure
Got
that
it.
we are doing exactly
Okay.
what
All right,
Commissioner Flowers was talking about, is having some funds for,
a cushion.
yeah, the what
Okay.
ifs.
Okay, so everybody good with the ARP for him, for the county manager to move forward?
What about the extra 100,000?
The what?
So when you add up the subtotal of projects and the remaining, you get 9,900,000.
Year-
So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'm just looking at the total subtotal.
875 and then 25. It should be 2125.
Okay.
Okay, good catch.
I mean, I think we should throw that on the splash pads and make them nicer.
All right, now, everybody, this is, let me
This
go
is
back.
from the $10 million. This is the non-restricted funds.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so
Don't-
we're
don't take my
agreeing to
three.
this,
Wait a
right?
minute, I thought broadband was what we could spend restricted funds on.
We could.
We could.
But we're
pull
going
it from that.
ahead.
We don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, we don't know what that fiber thing is gonna look like.
Correct.
So we're-
So we may need the money, and that's, in that whole issue is in there with us. So we have $3 million to be able to do both sides of it, if you, truly in Clay's mind, broadband and sewer, or something like that, in case we have to
Yes.
do something. But I am not for using the $3 million to give, to, move up a year or two.
Oh, no, that's.
No, yeah.
Okay, we all agree with
We
that?
agree.
Okay, all right, so, you have what you need in the way of guidance for us on this,
I do.
okay?
Okay, I just have one question.
Yes.
Are we moving past item one? We're moving past it.
I got one more on this.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We've done the second part of item number one, we haven't done the budget yet,
Okay, I'll wait for the budget. That's what I want.
isn't that right?
No, we did the budget.
I thought we did.
Yeah. we
Okay.
did the budget. The
Okay,
only
so
thing
my
was-
question is, I'd sent everyone an email, and maybe you got, I think James responded back, regarding possibly increasing land for the Development Authority. Are we looking to do that this year, or are we not gonna do that this year? Funding for land. Where are we at right now with them? I mean, I know that we are at
They're at
100,000, and then we moved it to, are we at 500,000 with them now?
Yeah, I think it's
520, I
520, 525, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. We're not gonna increase it anymore.
No.
We're not gonna offer, we mentioned a millage rate at one point. I know we're not trying to do that, but I'm just saying,
Well, I mean, when we started out, they were at 100,000, and
Mhm.
over the last 3 years, we have increased it about 100,000, 125,000 to get them where we were funding them 20 years ago. It's a real interesting because we, as a county, do fund the Development Authority, even though you got all these other entities that are sitting there making the decisions.
Yeah.
There's no other funding source, so,
So
Yeah,
I
we-
think
I'd
the
love to see
funding,
us
I
do
think
so.
the funding we have programmed for the Development Authority is all okay.
okay.
Now, if that's, you
I
agree
agree.
that's
You
okay?
think?
how did it get to be 520,000 as opposed to 500,000? I'm just asking.
That's a great question, and something that I've got to go dig.
Maybe
through.
percentage
Yeah,
or something.
because I mean, I
500, but it's
felt like
520,
when we
25.
were making our pitch, we went from 100 to 250.
Mhm.
And the next year, I think we did 350. And so I'm like, how do you get
525.
520?
I don't remember, I remember 5, so I don't know if it's 525 or not.
Well, okay, that's fine. If we're gonna stick
Well, I
there,
mean,
we'll
because
stick
that's
there.
what they said to us. If we were back at $500,000, we would have money to do investments ourselves.
So those that are sitting on the Development Authority, I mean, I know they have to acquire land and funding. Is that, okay, I mean, is that enough money to do this?
So, right now, we don't have enough money to do any sort of large-scale new development like the Lakes of Green Valley. Like where we had to come in and like spec clear and get ready and spec build out the roads and stuff. That said, that's full. Like every
Right, you're
single
tapped out.
spot is done.
Right.
That said, next door is some, the private folks that came in that did the rezoning, that we actually attached the methodology and usage covenants like at Lakes of Green Valley. So these guys want to do essentially what the Development Authority is doing, but in a private way, which, like, boy, that's
Better,
even,
better.
like, even better. There is some spots on the border, I'll say, that they need the Development Authority to like help out with, but nothing on the scale of Lakes of Green Valley,
Right.
700 acres or whatever it was. I think in the future, I like next time, and it's the same way that they speak at the meetings, is the next time we have a SPOS or something, we should put in some money for
That's probably,
moving
okay.
on down 16. But right now, they don't really have any plans for anything big because those guys. Now, there is plans to like businesses come in and are interested in this, and so we buy it almost to hold an escrow, and then they buy it from us almost immediately, so we can kind of
Okay.
be a pass through for them. But without larger funding, they're not going to be able to drop another one. Like
So we're not purchasing land right now, basically.
not on the scale.
On
of
scale,
Space Green
okay.
Valley. But again, there's ways that like they buy it on behalf of an entity that then comes in and buys it from us, or you know.
Okay.
All right, on budget.
I would ask.
I must have missed it. My belief is no new taxes. I'm trying to make
Yeah,
sure you have
we
the
don't want to raise
guidance.
the millage rate.
I want,
I
Well,
think
we
again we're
can't.
gonna have to advertise it as a tax raise, tax
yes.
increase, even though the millage rate's gonna be the same.
So, my issue, no new
Can't lower it.
taxes, and we're gonna have to keep that same number, for a couple of years in a row.
Yep, 2 more.
No new taxes, I want to, make a large number increase for code enforcement. We have to drastically improve code enforcement somehow.
Right.
We're talking about, in the bigger issues that we're talking about with the 10 million, this is small money, but we gotta do something. We gotta hire 2 companies, 3 companies, whatever we gotta do to get that,
Parcel service.
be able to do that with. And then I want to, I'm recommending that we say, we have a millage rate attached to the roads resurfacing. It's the most important thing that we're supposed to be doing. The T-Splosh goes for 5 years. We got 500 miles. We're gonna fix 100 miles. What are we gonna do in 5 years? We can't come back and ask again for T-Splosh. So we've got these 5 years, and my recommend, whatever the mills are, I think we need to put in there and say, it's going to go dedicated to road resurfacing on the line item. $1,000 in there this year. We need to up that every year for the next 5 years to get us to a point where we can start to become self-sufficient. All right, Gwen.
I'm open to that.
I don't fully agree with some of what you said. We're going from 0 to 60. We've not had a penny in the 17 years that I've been here that we have dedicated to roads.
This
So
year
what-
we do? Nine?
I said
Yeah.
before now.
Okay, excuse me.
And when I say about that, this was a major effort that I was happy about. However, I think that we have to be rational, in order for, I think that we're being very optimistic in saying that in 5 years, we want to do 100 miles. Because for the last 5 years, you did no miles. So, it's great to
And each mile
say
is
that you're
bonkers
doing,
expensive.
to do that, and it will probably get more expensive.
Yep.
But how that money, in the past, there's not been any roads, so what Public Works has been doing in terms of patching and fixing, and it's all come out of Public Works. So you have a different line item now that doesn't require Public Works to be interspersed with roads. Transportation money is not just for paving. It's for fixing ravines. It's for putting curb and gutters so that you don't wash the road out. So I think that, I don't agree with you that money should go on to that. If we have defined what transportation is to us in the community, then whether it's repairing sidewalks at Sun City or sidewalks at Third Ward or not in Third Ward because we're not, but you see what I'm
I
saying?
understand.
When a lot of the road repairs that we've needed or the curb and gutter stuff and ravine stuff just couldn't be done because it wasn't there. So I'm all for setting, I'm not necessarily sure about setting a millage rate because that's variable and you can't really guarantee on that. I'm all for raising it as we go along. But I think I would like to have a better understanding to know that this is what we define transportation as. Not buying cars, but fixing sidewalks, repairing trails, paving roads, resurfacing roads, fixing roads. And I think within that we can say, okay, if there's $1 million, we want $500,000 or this much that will go directly to paving, but we cannot discount everything else that also encompasses.
Just like we did with, to me, it's just like we did with
The
T-Splosh.
T-Splosh, right.
And I don't have a problem. My issue is I think we ought to force that to happen and not look at it each year and say, how much money do we want to put into it? If we say it's 1 mil, 1.5, and I don't know the number of that, I don't even know how much those money is. But if we say, we're dedicating that we're gonna put this amount of money in
Toward
there.
transportation.
Now, if we decide, hey, that's only 900,000, we need to make it 1.3 million, then we're gonna add the millage plus the additional funding.
So if it were 2009 and there was no money, and you had required to fund a millage rate, you would have to take money from other areas because you have set that retraction from the millage rate. So that's why I say, I'm a little bit opposed to calling it a millage rate. I would say if, you know, if this year you wanted to increase it $100,000 over the next 4 years, you can only do that 1 year at a time, but you can at least look at it independently. I think from where we are now, we won't ever go back to not funding roads. I don't know what the roadblock was, well, I do, but we're doing that. You know, we're all on the same page. We need to spend that money. That's what OCGA says is that our responsibility as roads. So, yes, I'd like for us, just like we did the Development Authority, maybe
Yeah.
we can
Staged it.
incrementally agree to budget
Right.
and increase every year till we get to
Touchdown for me.
whatever. But it allows us to be able to back if our funding goes
And there's
south
there's
again.
something to be said once we're at that point, that, hey, for 5 years, we've been funding this at $500,000, you know, the equivalent of $500,000, like, hey, let's just, instead of varying it every year, lock it in, like,
Yeah.
but right now, when we're at
We're
the first
just
time ever
going
giving
Yes.
any,
it is, yeah.
like, maybe locking it into here, maybe we're jumping to that, but like, I agree, we
Stage
incrementally
it.
getting there, sort of like we done with the development.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, I'm not quite ready to lock in a millage rate, a percent, you know, a portion of the mills, but like, if 3 years from now, it's been 500,000 or whatever, like, saying, hey, let's go ahead and pre-allocate these things so that we don't have to reinvent this budget every year, you know, it's already
Right.
done.
It's
already there.
Like, then there's something, we go, oh, yeah.
But I just don't want us to be locked into making a decision to allocate money that will take away from us to be able to manage the rest of the county, if there's just no money.
And my answer is, remember, we make the rules, we change the rules.
Well, yeah.
So if we say 1.5 and then we say it's 2009 and we don't have 1.5, we say, all right, we're gonna make it just 300,000 and this year we're not doing it. We can make
That's-
that just the way we want to. That's us doing it.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, it's hard to undo.
To make the commitment and then take it back. I like the staging in like we're talking about, but to say we're gonna do this and all of a
And I mean,
sudden
we
not
have
do
5
it,
years of T-Splosh.
that's a-
I mean, and my hope is that at the end of 5 years, or at the end of 2 years, people will be like, my road is paved. And when we say we need another transportation spot, they will truly understand
The
that
money
it
being
is
there.
for them.
Look, if you guys haven't seen some of the joint trail plans that the city has for, you know, Heron Bay to Maddox Road and beyond, like Lincoln through the city park, like with bike paths and like, you guys go take a look at
Really?
that. Like,
Alright.
I think by the time we're done with this T-Splosh, people will be going like,
Yeah.
we should do
agree
another
with
one of
you.
these, this is great.
I
Like,
understand why this is
Yeah.
important.
So, let's, what kind of guidance do we want to give him on how much money we want to put into the line item that says resurfacing or roads or whatever it is?
It was $900,000
$900,000.
this
$100,000.
year.
Correct.
So why don't we, well, we got a splosh for next, why don't we just say $1 million?
Okay.
$1 million in next year's budget, and then we get to that, it can be
Yeah.
1.1.
if
Till
we
we
can,
get
we
through our
don't know how
spot.
much we're
Yeah.
going
Mhm.
over, but like, that
Okay.
seems vaguely.
That's,
The idea is to raise it incrementally.
In
Incrementally
increments.
Until we get it to a
Right.
comfortable place that we can manage
Yeah.
our own road project.
Keep in mind, like $1 million is still only
That's
like
a lot.
yeah, now,
5 miles of resurface.
yeah, it's
Really?
not that much.
Re-
Out of our
resurface
big
road is
picture.
bonkers expensive.
But it's more than we ever had.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a start.
Do you need
We gotta
additional
move on to
guidance
this.
on
Give me that
code
amount, I'll
enforcement?
be able to do good.
All right, code enforcement, he's got the guidance he needs on code enforcement, and we want
Are
drastic.
we going to take money from unrestricted money? Because if you do what we say that we're gonna do, if we're gonna go out and, you know, do the 2-minute drill to get everything cleaned up, and I don't know if it'll take a year, that's a lot of money out of our budget. So where are we going, I don't want us raising our budget, so if we can take money out of this
I'm okay with
For
that.
the temporary, because I mean, I'm hopefully, once you get it straight, then you will have a 5 people, 4 people,
It-
whatever. total.
Just so you understand, it's really kind of small money. We're talking about at the outside, $500,000. So $500,000 from, we're talking about, for the most part, big money. I don't mind going
Yeah, that's
back
like
and
1%
saying,
of our budget.
let's go ahead and say, you can have 500,000 out of ARP to do,
What you need to do.
Out of
code
ARP.
enforcement. But we want to see something much better than we saw this year. This year was,
Don't go there.
Dr. Ledbetter has a PhD in this. I believe in his ability to make
Cool.
this work.
All right, thank you very much. All right,
so we added that in there, thank you.
Yes.
I'm moving this line item up to here, okay?
We gotta talk about this one real fast because I gotta go. This is the
Okay.
one that
I need you.
this is the one I'm excited about.
All right,
Do
so,
you need him for something else? Okay,
raise the bar, what does it mean? I sent around a document for you guys to take a look at, and we talked specifically in that document around design standards, construction standards, roads, infrastructure, codifying ordinances before the end of 2022, which I heard very loud and clear from Commissioner Dutton. He wanted a timeline. So
I'm not mad at you.
I'm with you.
gotta- we
Listen,
gotta go
I'm
through
not happy over this either.
true.
One of the things that we've talked about over the last few months is providing Brad Vaughn some support in community development. We have a community development director coming in. Mr. Harmet Bidet will be here next Tuesday. You can see his credentials here.
Super excited.
That is super excited, because it will afford us the opportunity to invest in Brad as well, because that's a big thing for us, is building out that legacy opportunity. I did have a conversation with Bill Ross Monday, specifically asking Bill if he would point us in the right direction for some support to update and upgrade our zoning ordinances for our county. Recognizing that our zoning ordinances are a little dated.
Yep.
Bill asked if we could spend some time together to have the discussion, because he is very interested in performing that level of work for us. He's done this on a significant number of projects. We do have funds to move that forward, and the funds to move that forward would come directly from what was allocated for our comprehensive plan. We budgeted 250,000, we're only expending 207, so there's money sitting there to engage Bill Ross and group while they are here to move forward in upgrading our zoning ordinances for our county and moving us ahead.
Who's Bill Ross?
He is the person who wrote the legislation for the capital impact program for the state of Georgia.
The impact fee structure?
Correct.
I
He
guess
is
he knows.
also a part of the team with Blue Cypress that's working our comprehensive plan right now.
Outside consulting firm that comes in. and does
So
this.
question about this, Mr. Harmit?
Yes.
Is this a full, like, is he gonna be here with us, employed with us through
He
the whole
is,
gamut?
he
Okay.
is, he will be the director over community development for Spalding County. Just to give you an idea, he has 6 books under his belt that he has written specifically for planning and zoning. He is also a certified planner through the American Institute. He is a professor, an adjunct professor at Kennesaw State University and another university, and it may be there, I can't remember right this minute. But we were able to bring him in through competitive interview process
What to
for
say?
this
He wants to
position.
come here, very good.
Right.
Dr. Ledbetter, I have a question about, we talk about the design standards and what we're talking about in raising the bar. I don't know the number of the legislation, but there is legislation that is being submitted that would disallow us to refuse subdivisions that are built just for leasing.
That is correct.
And
Right.
last year, and I don't know if it's gonna get any traction, but last year, in the last 2 years, there has been legislation that wants to contain what we can require a developer to put on the outside. So, you know, we need to pay attention to that, because if we decide raising the bar means that every new home that's built should have internet, accessibility to internet. Because everybody gets a hole drilled in the wall. I mean, I think that's just normal. So, but even things like that, how do we know that it's not gonna bump head? We don't know that it's not gonna bump head with the legislation, but we need to be paying attention, because we have clearly said that we don't have an ordinance or anything that would govern someone coming in and building out a whole subdivision just for rental. So,
That's one,
hopefully him coming here, but, you know, we need somebody who is keeping us up on, okay, this is what we're gonna do, but they're saying at the legislature that, no, that you need to let people have subdivisions that are rental.
And the legislation last year was not for rental subdivisions, but it was basically, if your standards are above
The state,
the state standards, then your standards don't count.
Yeah, and
right,
the state
like we
standards are a
can't tell
joke.
people to put brick or stucco,
The state
or we
standards
can't
are a
say you gotta
joke.
have a certain kind of window.
Joke.
So, yeah,
But they
they're
can
kind
make,
of working against what it is that we're trying to do to raise the
It
bar, but we just need to be
depends.
aware
I
of it.
mean, I totally expect if, the prices of supplies continue to go up, that lobby, that builder's lobby is strong.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing's gonna come back.
And if it
I'm
does
not
come
saying
Well,
back,
the state can come out here and enforce it
But,
themselves.
right, you know, but I'm saying, even if the legislation for the leasing subdivision comes through, you know, we need to know what that says for us, because we still have some regular building standards that we're gonna, you know, so you can put your subdivision there, but it needs to be da-da-da-da-da.
pipes and
da-da-da-da.
sprinklers and all the stuff that
If
my
that
subdivision's
happens.
going
Yeah,
through.
like,
Right.
like, look around Spalding County at what the state standards has built us. Like, it's a joke. Like, it's a joke, and it's not fair to these people who think they're buying a $250,000 house, $150,000 house, and they go, well,
All my
why is
kids
there
going on the
no,
wall.
why is there no insulation? Well,
Right.
it meets the standards. The standard is a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
That's insulation. No, it's not. It's a piece of plastic.
So just, we
We
just
saw
need
it
to
go,
be
we saw
aware
it
of
happen
it.
on North Hill. We saw them build it. No,
Yep.
it meets the standard. Then it's a crap standard.
And it's leased, everything over there
That's
on
right.
North Hill Street is for lease now.
Poof.
So they walked in under that, but we, you know,
As absolute
we've got
predators.
more space than them, and so if people wanna do that, we just don't, I mean, I don't
Right.
know that it's a bad thing, but I think that we have to have some standards to allow
That's
people
right.
to come in and put any kind of major development in here.
Right.
That we don't have our
Look,
hands
So-
on.
I don't care if it's lease or owned or whatever, as long as it's to a high standard. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's
Built
somewhere
well
where
and taken
you would
care
wanna live, where your kids would wanna live,
Yeah.
where I would wanna live. Like, the house I ran into this afternoon, like, probably should have been,
Oh,
Oh, there's
does it
one.
meet the standard? Yep.
Yeah.
And that's on us. That's on us to have allowed that standard to exist.
and it
That's
burned,
on
it-
us.
and it
That's
burned
not-
down, and it burned down?
No, they were able to get there and
Okay.
kitchen certainly burned down.
Okay.
But look, we also, they had a fire in Orchard Hill the other day, and it looked like a normal house from the outside. They got inside or they determined once they got there not to go inside, but it's a split-second decision. Had they said, let's go inside, those firefighters probably would have died because the building was reinforced concrete blocks.
Gosh.
But it didn't look like that. And so that heat holds in, they're gonna walk into that and like it's a trap. You know what I'm saying? But it looked like a normal building from the outside, and they burned differently. So you go, well, I could probably go into this one and take care of it. Had they made that decision, those firefighters could have died, probably would have died. And so we've got these design standards that allow that kind of stuff to happen. These are literal traps for firefighters. Like, we have to do better.
So going back to this gentleman that's coming here, we're asking to basically budget, because you said we have
He's-
money for.
He's already done. He's already
Okay.
hired. He will be here Tuesday. He's.
He's hired.
I'm
Okay.
sorry?
He's already hired, okay.
Yes, he is.
Very
He's
good.
already hired. He and Brad are running the community development department for Spalding County. And with the workload that you guys have right now, we are struggling to raise the bar and bring ordinances to the Board of Commissioners for you guys to increase the standards that we have. And we are asking for some support.
Yes, okay.
And
Pardon?
bottom line to me is, so everybody knows, is we're gonna allocate money to fix this. We've been talking about it, and finally Steve said, all right, I'll contract this out to get this done. It's the best answer we have.
Yeah.
For 2 answers, so,
right.
2 years, so good job on that. We
Okay.
absolutely agree with that. We ought to just continue to raise the bar.
Absolutely.
So let me just understand, so the person,
The new Debbie Bell.
no. Who is going to be in charge of code enforcement? Is that gonna be the marshal?
Correct.
Okay, and we also talked, well, me and you talked about it, but we also talked about the fact that, we have animal control on the road and whether or not we will cross-train them because they're the same eyes. Once everybody else gets us straightened out, and I know that's a process. But, so yeah, I get it now.
All right.
SDS?
So service delivery strategy, just an overview for what service delivery strategy does and is. Why is it important? Without SDS and it being verified by the Department of Community Affairs, local government or representative authority will not be eligible to receive any state permits or financial assistance. So we are working very, very hard to make sure that we meet the deadlines for service delivery strategy. Our deadline this year is October 31st. So we are working to achieve that. So where are we? Well, I would like to call on my chairman and ask him to maybe give a brief discussion about what we discussed in 3G Plus last week and what your thoughts were from our SDS discussion.
All right, I tried to write something on this, on the meeting. It was absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, it's 3G, it only turned out to be 2G because the school wasn't there. And listening to Jessica, the city manager, and our county manager talking about individual SDS intergovernmental agreements was absolutely comforting to me that we're in the same shape. Now, my belief is there is a number of issues that if you argued them individually, probably aren't the best for us. But if you go to the next page on the next intergovernmental agreement, that would be against us or for us. So there's some give and take in there depending on our budgets and our appetite on certain areas. I think what I saw is we are in great shape. What we agreed to is, if you remember, I wanted to have a great big meeting with the city and the county to do SDS, and we thought we were gonna do mediation for a number of
Right.
things. Now, listen to Steve and Jessica, we're not gonna have to do any of that mediation. And Doug said, I am confident in what we're coming out with, and I believe that we can do it individually. We will approve, you will approve, and it's done. So there won't have to be any discussion. We think we're that far, he thinks we're that far along. So I'm very pleased with what's going on with that. Here are the 3 areas that I think everybody's kind of interested to talk about. You want me to talk through this? All right. Animal control, dual function for us. Yeah, all right.
Right.
800 megahertz, and the parks are the 3 areas, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But those are the 3 areas that we came into, kind of, and I think that we've resolved them with give and take between Jessica and Steve. So I think we're in pretty good shape on
Kudos to you, Steve, that's all I can
on
say
those.
about that.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
a long way from where we were when we were allocating money to go through mediation. All right, let's go on to the next.
Okay, local option sales tax. This is a discussion that Jessica and I are going to have. Some of the things that we're doing in the background, we are looking through all of the options for how to do formula calculations for lost, whether we're using population, property tax receipts, government expenditures, fixed percentage allocations, or lost equalization funds. And I've given you just a little bit of a highlight for what each one of those are doing. I'm working the formulas. I was even working them today so that I will be very well prepared for the discussion that we're going to have with the city. Again, the discussion that Jessica and I are having, we feel like we're very, very close to an agreement for bringing back to our respective boards what we've drafted up so that you can consider them for us to move forward with our loss negotiations.
So SDS's drop dead date is 31 October.
Correct.
What's the drop dead dates for Lost?
July 1.
This year?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So, I guess, so we should have Lost completed before,
They go hand in hand, and that's exactly how the city wanted to move us forward. They wanted to make sure that we had agreement on SDS before we had discussions around loss, because they feel like if we're in good shape on SDS, that loss would be a very easy discussion. And I agree with that.
And there's lots and lots of pieces of SDS. There's really not a lot of pieces for Lost.
well, in the past, when I've sat through the Lost negotiation, it was always about, well, we provide an extra service, we provide an extra level of care, or, you know, the double taxation. And I agree with some instances, there's, the service that we provide at the county, it should be provided to the city. They don't need to really do that. I don't know if they thought they were making revenue, revenue, but some things make sense. But when we start talking about, what it will cost for us to do some of the things that we're talking about doing in Lost, I mean, in SDS, how does that back out when we look at, okay, it's another $400,000 or $500,000 that we were not normally spending?
That's exactly why we want to make sure that we do SDS first before we have the discussion around lost.
Okay,
Lost is really just a percentage issue. SDS, there are, if you look at his book, you know.
Well, that's the
there are a lot of-
negotiation piece. 'cause I
but
mean,
that's
the- yeah.
part of what the negotiations have been, is that we have an extra, we had to do something extra for our animals, or, you know, we
Well-
have a different court, so they end up going to the same jail, cause it's a county jail, but, so, yeah.
So we'll do SDS first. We're almost done with that as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's move on.
So let's talk about comprehensive plan and CIE update. Under our current county ordinance, if you look at section 604, specifically D, the planning commission is responsible to maintain and update the Spalding County comprehensive plan so that it may provide a current database with which decisions on proposed amendments to this ordinance may be made that utilize sound planning principles. Your planning commission is mandated to be a part of your comprehensive plan.
Makes sense.
Okay. never
Sorry.
mind.
So one of the things that I'm asking for here specifically is, other than the planning commission, how would the board agree to place members of the community into our steering committee? And remember that a steering committee these are members who are responsible for bringing the right people, the right community leaders into the discussion around our comprehensive plan. So how do you guys want to allocate members on the steering committee for our?
Because you said there was 5 citizens, we said 5 city and 5 county?
No, Gwen brought it up. We need
Right.
citizens, heavy citizens, instead of just putting those regular people. My answer was 5 and 5.
That's what,
And
okay.
I am trying to do, so everybody understands, when I did it the first time, I walked out telling everybody what the comp plan was about, because I was in mouth hang open, I didn't understand. So I think citizens in there become disciples of what's going on. I did not add a whole lot the first time through. I understood a little bit of what I was interested in, but for the most part, I was not into, are we gonna do this, are we gonna do that, or is this kind of a zone, is that kind of a zone? But I was sure a disciple from then on about walking around and talking about the comprehensive plan. So my recommendation is 5 and 5. Well, you all saw it. I think it's 20 people in the end to be able to. The issue before, the slide, was maintain and update, not develop. There's a difference to me in that. Right now, my confidence, I think it's a little bit bigger than we have asked the planning commission to do.
We've never asked them to be a part of this, and so
So-
I think that it's important, since it's obviously in the statute, to bring them on to help understand it. Also, in the past, when we've had something like this, we've all kind of like put out something on the website, well, the whatever we had, and in the paper to ask people if they would like to volunteer. And then if we get a list of volunteers, if we have to pick, I mean, I would like to say that, I get 10 volunteers from my district, but I might not get one at all.
Well, see, I think she
But
brings up a good point.
if there's a
I
list
like
of-
the district appointments, actually. That's what I think we should do.
Well-
Everybody chooses a person.
Well, but you need to find people who are interested. And so, I mean, maybe we may have 12 people who says, I would like to volunteer. Well, maybe you really do want somebody, so you can recommend that. But if you have a group of people who say, I want to do it,
But see, I think everybody, those people that have a stake in the game need to be somewhat diverse as far as where they live, because we're talking about a comprehensive plan here. So if you're heavily in District 3 and then not as heavy in District 2 or District 4, I mean, I think it's evenly spread, because we all have a dog and we have a stake in this. So that's why I'm just suggesting, I think, you're right, they have to volunteer for this, but I think we should be the ones to plant the seed to those people that are actually
right,
in our
I
areas.
need you to
Because we
volunteer.
need people to represent, our
And
our
remember, there's
base.
also the public hearing. We're gonna have,
I think you need more than just advertising in the newspaper for volunteers, so you need an application.
You do.
And it needs to be.
What you're interested in.
And that's fair,
Yes.
It
that's
needs to
fair.
be a robust application.
Yes, I
so that
agree.
you don't have somebody that just says, oh yeah, I think I'll volunteer
Right.
for that.
and I know the 2 or 3 people in my communities, my district, that would love to do this. All I have to do is select them to be able to do it. So, I'm pretty certain I've got those people to be able to do it. So I think 10 citizens on it, along with the stakeholders, to be able to do it. And now we've got some more people, because we'll put the commission
Planning Commission.
on there. Now, it gets to be almost too big to be
Yeah,
able to
that
work.
is big.
But when the public hearings happen, last time I think there were 3 or 4 public hearings, we moved them all around the county. Those people walk in here and they get their stickies and they get to do what they're
Right.
trying to do. Those are also where I think the rest of the citizens have an opportunity.
To come in and some people will come anyway just because they know it, even if they don't wanna be on the committee, but I agree with Stephanie. It gives us a guidance for somebody who says, I know da-da-da-da-da, I'm interested in this, I live in the county. I mean, and we don't necessarily have to pick from them, but if I see somebody from my district that said they wanted to be there, I don't have to really go looking for somebody.
Yeah.
And
I
all
can
those
just chat with.
people, all those people that Clay says are willing to do it, they might not be willing to fill out the application, and if they're not, then do you really want them on your committee?
Cool, I agree.
If you're in, you're in 100%. I mean, that's part of the process.
And there's also the people who, we had, the steering committee met, and I had a number of people the first time in 17, 3 or 4 people just walked in. They walked in, it was a public hearing, I mean, it wasn't a public hearing, it was just a public meeting, and they walked in to sit and listen. And one of them said, I used to be in the business, and I heard about it, I want to watch what's going on. I didn't know if I wanted to be on the steering committee or anything, but I wanted to, so, all right, so I've said 5 and 5. I don't know if the city wants to do it. The reason I really wanted the city to be involved, they're gonna do it next year. And we can start helping them by bringing those people in here so that they become disciples out there to start saying, comp plan is coming, hey, we wanna do something about it. We could do 10 just from us, 2 each, but I think 5 and 5, and then the 8 or 9 people that are already, we know have to be on it, that are stakeholders, and will add to the guidance.
So this is our comprehensive plan. This
This
is
is.
not the comprehensive transportation plan.
No,
No.
this-
So in that case, application, city residents are eligible to apply. I mean, we're talking about the 5 from the county and the 5 from the city. The city doesn't have to pick them. The city's in the county.
Right.
So if people submit applications, we'll be able
We'll
to,
be picking from that.
to be able to look through that and then we can say, okay, this person is in the city. Let's,
And with diversity, we're talking about, we'll go through that and say, hey, we got 3 people here, one of them's in the city, we need somebody from the city, these other 2,
and if we don't get someone able to fill all those spots, then we can go into our individual areas and ask people to come in and fill an application out.
Okay, so we kind of agree, all right, send an application out, get it on the net, let's get people to apply.
And this is as of like now?
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, we need them now. So we're gonna be pushing very, very hard for members of our community to come participate in this because our timeline has already started.
Right.
so,
They're giving you a job, DeAndre.
So-
DeAndre's doing a fabulous job.
So, everybody, if you know some people, start passing the word to them, hey, it's coming. If you see them in the Kroger, hey, it's coming. You're interested, you'll see something soon, all right?
All right,
And this application, it will be online.
we will work to
Well, it will be done.
finalize this application very quickly.
Okay.
I'm looking around for some support. 'cause
Okay.
It's gonna take a
All right.
while.
And ideally, we would like to have it, so you can fill it out online.
Don't know if we will have online capability, but they will be able to download it and fill it out and bring it to us, or
Okay.
ship it to us by email. Yep.
Okay,
All right, next up on the agenda for this evening is an update on the closeout for SPLOST. And if you look at your screen, the debt service is $3,049,500. It is sitting in the bank and due July the 1st of this year. We have zero monies remaining in the bond account, and there are $10,217,429 in the project fund to continue our fund for the projects that we currently have in play.
I don't even see where you're reading all
At
that.
the little bottom square.
Bottom right-hand side,
Okay, and debt service is due by July 1st of this year.
that is correct.
all right. So what that says is,
We're in great shape.
So 10 million in the project fund. 4 million of that is what we had allocated initially for the Aquatic Center.
correct.
Plus you've got the finalization for Rosenwall.
Is this,
Fairmont.
ba-
Okay, yeah.
is this due to
And
the
this-
excess plus funds? Is that what
So-
this is?
Go to the next screen, please.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, does not include the other funding that we were able to pull back that helped us get the money for Rosenwall.
Correct.
So where do we see that coming in?
It's all sitting there. In fact, if you look at the bottom right-hand side, the remaining amount to the project account will be 1.39 million is
Okay.
what we're projecting. And we have, let's see, where was it? Oh, I put it on here. I'm sorry that I don't have it readily available. The funds are there with approximately $2 million available. So the Rosenwall School is funded through the end of the project with what is expected to be their final bill.
Okay.
Okay, so where is the funding for the gym?
Great question,
Huh?
great question.
Is there an answer
It's
to
not,
it?
Not yet.
Okay, because when we said to the public, I'm not quoting Sarah, Stephanie, you got that memory, that, Baldici memory. Where did that money come from?
oh, yeah.
It was $4
It
million.
came from the closeout of the prior SPOS. There were funds.
Excess funds from the prior
Excess
spot.
funds from what was the year, Kathy? 2008?
So-
Excess funds from the 2008
So-
SPOS.
I would like to see that money put somewhere so that we don't have to go here and here, or at least something that tells us that this is what that funding is.
I will work to get
Absolutely.
that 2008 funding in a position that is full transparency. The request was only for the 2016 SPLOST, so that's exactly what we were
That's what I asked him for,
providing.
to be able to do, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine, but, you know.
But this says,
So that money had to be used for a particular purpose to pay debt, and that allowed other money to be freed up.
The money that we set aside for debt service.
Right.
Okay, I just wanna make sure
Mm.
it's
Yep.
there.
we're all good. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what this says to me is there is no SPLOS unfunded going on right now.
Correct.
Okay, make sure
So the
everybody,
aquatic center's done. We've got the money we're saying for the gym is taken care
But
of.
we don't
Well,
know that the
Yeah,
Aquatic
we
Center
don't
is
know
done.
that
Okay.
for sure yet. The comment that the chairman just made was there are no unfunded SPLOST projects underway right now.
Right now.
We are pushing everything transparently through. We're only funding those projects that were a part of the SPLOST program.
okay?
Okay.
So
All right.
this is really great news, so
Yeah.
everybody understands, this is really great news to be able to do this. Okay,
All right, T-SPLOST startup calendar. We are well underway with what's going on with our T-SPLOST. week before last, I met with Brian Upson and asked him if he would go ahead and draft up the TOFs, and we can begin the bid process for Phase 1 road resurfacing and the sidewalk projects so that we can move those forward. And our plan is to open and award bids for resurfacing and sidewalks the week of April the 4th, which will be the first week that we take monies in under our T-Splosh program. So
Okay.
we are not waiting, we are jumping way
Right.
out in front of this to make sure that
Well,
we
that,
do
that,
this
we
right.
have bonded that.
That is
that money
correct. We
already.
bonded that, well, we're in the process of bonding
We
that
don't have
money.
that money yet.
All of the paperwork for the bonding process will be presented to you during the regular session in March for consideration and signature so that we can move
Week of the
forward. And if you
21st.
look at the program calendar, week of March 7th, it's receive rating, due diligence call, and provide for final comments on all the documents. But Ms. Stephanie has worked herself silly trying to get all of this work product in front of you the first meeting in March.
And I wanna tell y'all how happy I am that we are using,
Carolyn?
Caroline Lawton. She's
Okay.
been amazing, and she's great. I'm really, really happy that we're, to be working with her. And I don't want any of you to show up in court on the 23rd at 9 a.m., because we expect to hear no objection.
Okay.
When the judge calls the calendar.
What month is that?
We're not telling you.
Oh, it's already over, sorry.
Now, not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but this is absolutely great stuff. DeAndre, this is the time you've got to be able to really and truly,
Get the word out.
media has got to go, bang, we're getting money in 1 April, and here the people are starting to lay out and starting to do the stuff. So this is a big, huge media blast. We told them, trust us, we're gonna do this, and here it is. So the big issues you gotta do is, I see drones down the road and all that stuff that you know how to do. So this is really the time we want to have the citizens say, they said it, and now they're doing it, and the trust issue. So big issue. He's been working the money hard. Now it's your time to do that part, okay?
There would be some resolutions that are coming up on various agendas, just to make sure that we're, ready for the money to come in. We don't expect anything to happen early, but we're gonna be ready just in case.
So this is great work, Steve. Great, great work getting this ready to go. So as soon as the first day we have the money, we're doing something about it. All right? Next is update on the appreciation luncheon.
So we are scheduled for Monday at the Senior Center for our lunch and learn, our appreciation lunch and learn. Stephanie and I have again worked to put together the training objectives, and you'll see that in just a minute. We'll breeze through those very quickly. Kathy and Chandrell did a great job. They went over today to make sure that we had everything planned out. How are we going to do this? The lunch will begin, please be there about 11:45, but lunch will begin at 12. Committee members will sit in their district. We will have district set up, and those who are a part of our commissions or authorities will be asked to sit in the district where they live. So you'll get a chance to meet and greet those who are a part of your district. We'll set up with buffet-style meal, and Chairman Davis will open the lunch and the learn session. We will do this between 12 and 1, so there will be plenty of time for you guys to interact and meet those who are a part of your district. For the training session between 1 and 3:30, Stephanie and I will lead the training along with mock meeting or role play sessions. And then we'll do an out briefing between 3:30 and 4, where you, again, will have a chance to ask and answer questions from those who are in your districts that are a part of our boards and our commissions to get their feedback. Some of the things that we would really ask you to do is ask 2 questions during this out briefing session. What went well during the training? And then what would you, as a committee member, like to see in the future for training? And that's going to be important for us because I want to know so that I can provide support and help to those who are a part of our boards. And you can just scroll through. We have spent a considerable, just scroll through. We have spent a considerable amount of time working on how we're going to present this to our members, and we are expecting, how many did you send out? 94 or 104?
94,
It was 94 invitations that went out that,
but not many have RSVP.
Not what?
not many have RSVP'd. Was really not expecting a lot of RSVPs. I think people will just come and show up.
So can you tell me what that looks like, a little bit like the training piece of it? I know we'll be sitting with our districts. You'll be doing the training. So what does that training somewhat look like? I mean, were you gonna be,
Open records, sunshine law.
so are you gonna be just training and asking questions? I know there's some role play, whatever, but.
Meeting.
I actually have a list of questions, and I kind of had in my head, and you tell me what you think about this, especially if they're divided into districts. It would be awesome if, I have buzzers that we could, whoever buzzes in gets to give me the answer, and, you know,
Cool.
it's, Wynn's district will be against Ryan's district, and.
No, we're competing.
We want to make this very interactive.
And not hard.
Yeah.
You
No.
asked me what
Right.
we were gonna do.
So the overview comes first, of course, and
Mhm.
then afterwards, it's, if you are in this situation, then what, kind of thing. I did this with the Board of Elections, and it worked great.
Okay. But I think anything that we can offer them that will make doing their job easier is a plus.
This is, I think, a really great group effort from our part, trying to get from, hey, we're gonna have an appreciation lunch, to we're gonna have the appreciation lunch and training, to we're gonna have appreciation lunch, training, and we're gonna get to meet and talk to our
Yeah,
people.
it is.
This is exciting to see how far we've come with the five of us talking about it. So I think this turns into a routine session that we have every year.
And my experience has been that interactive training is much more effective than.
Right,
Than just talking to somebody.
especially after lunch.
All right, are we through with that part?
We are.
Okay. Item number 5, consider a request from the county manager, Steve Ledbetter, to enter into executive session to discuss future acquisition of real estate as provided by OCGA 50-14-3-4, and discuss or deliberate on the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a county officer or employee as provided by OCGA 50-14-3-6. Do I have a motion to approve?
No, I got one more question, sorry. Steve, we didn't talk, oh wait, maybe we're going into closed session to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about the commissioner's contingency. We talked a little bit about that last week. For the past 15 years, the commissioner's contingency has been used to be the match for transportation grants and all this other stuff, and we do have funding for that. When I first came on, the contingency fund was if the commissioner needed something in their district or had a special project, they were able to use that. We haven't had the ability to use that fund to enhance our district. Just an example, there was a bad wreck on North Hill Street 2 weeks ago, knocked down 2 utility poles. Car landed right in somebody's backyard next to their propane gas tank. This is like the 10th time that there's been a wreck there. And I just wanted Steve or Public Works to put some kind of marker or arrows up. That should be something that I should be able to say, it's not normally planned, but we need this for my district, and if we had a contingency fund, we would be able to bring those things up. So I would like to see, I would like to suggest that we do something with our contingency fund different, because we don't have to use it for matches and for other stuff that we've been using it for, because we're funding those things. Mostly it's been used for transportation project matches.
It's probably a good year to do that too, because now we have a little bit more money to do with, and we can use the funds for what they were designed to do.
Absolutely.
We've
We'll be
never been in
more
a
than-
situation like this before, so.
Please forgive me. I'll be more than happy to take a look at that. Just as an aside, I did have a conversation with Public Works Director Imberger, and he and I have agreed that we are going to place some ballards out on that roadway to prevent that from happening again. So that should be taken care of here very, very quickly.
Yay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I-
I'm making a motion to go into closed session.
Okay.
Second.
And a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 4-0. Carried. Closed session.
Kathy, and I've got some questions about this form, by the way. About the-
Play.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
I'll get it.
Good.
Hey, you were calling me about Hendrix. Okay, I'm at the meeting, but he's at home with Don. What? Okay then, she had just tried to call me, so, okay, well, she calling back now, I'll tell her. All right, bye. 1 second. Hello? Okay, he's at the house with Don. I'm at a meeting. You're good, you're good. I talked to Matt, so Don's got him. He's been fed and everything. Okay? Hello? Okay, bye.
How you doing? You
Is it,
still in the hospital? You don't know that?
I did, because they was acting crazy out there with COVID, and I'm like, I'm 67. I'm not gonna go out here and die messing with y'all folks. But it's a little bit of money.
What you doing now? Just staying
No,
at
they're
home?
just trying to go to all these doing meetings, and no, I don't stay at home. I get up at 6:30 in the morning, go work out, and then I come back home and try to figure out how many meetings I got to go to that day. I miss seeing you at the nail shop. Let's go to get a pedicure together one day.
What's that, down in front of Griffith's?
Oh, is that the one you go to now?
That's-
I thought we went to the one up on by Walmart.
No, I went to that down there in front of Griffith's.
I saw you in the chair up at the one at Judy's Nails by Walmart. Maybe it was a couple of years ago, but you switched to somebody new. Oh, okay, well, maybe I might go down there with you, but yeah. I'm enjoying my retirement.
Where's them Dutton around too?
He probably had a Boy Scout meeting to go to. Do you know DeAndre? That's Mr. Brooks.
I heard
This
his
is-
name before.
He's our new, civic engagement guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ain't no board y'all stick me on all.
Let me see, what's tomorrow? Thursday. I know they call it.
What'd you say you do?
I'm not a communication, website, social media.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, oh, that's the wrong week. I think I have a meeting in here in the morning from 8 to 9:30. So I think I'll be here.
Yeah, if you hear 30 minutes, 20
Okay,
minutes, as
in
long
the
as
morning.
you don't say, I get it set up. I got
About 9:30.
All right, you'll read it the last two.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. All right.
Me and you the last one?
Yeah, I'm getting out of here, go home.
I'm going home too. That wasn't much of a meeting tonight for me.
was planning on being out of here a lot earlier than this today.
Really? Did you think? We had a heavy agenda.
Okay, tell me when you're ready. Take your time.
You done took all the other ones.
So you take an HR on Friday?
On Saturday, because there is no Friday class, I think.
Okay.
Mics are hot.
Okay, guys.
Motion to come out of closed session.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a
Second.
motion and a second, any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 4-0, thank you.
Is there something we have to vote on?
No.
Okay,
Motion.
make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 4-0.
Kathy, can I pay you with a credit card? Can you take a credit card? You need to have a check.
Oh, damn.
Okay. We don't do that. Okay. When you gonna turn yours in?
Night,
Do
dear,
what now?
thank you.
Your paper.
I gave it to her.
Okay, human resources on what day?
You see it on Saturday.
Management and human
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
resources. I guess I'll do that, 'cause I don't really see anything. Collaborative leadership. You not gonna do a class?